haven't seen the next quarter report yet from CoreLogic, but I would imagine it holds up. There's no reason for that not to hold up. And the second thing is we have 4 million under home properties. So at the next report, it should be up to 5 or 6 based on the markets cooling down. And we've talked about this repeatedly, David. Strategic default is a real thing with homeowners.
Well, for sure. I mean, we're still facing that every week. We're having conversations with people. And one of the questions that we get still, to my surprise, is, well, what if I just stop paying my mortgage?
Right.
You know, should I do that? People say that I should do that. And we never, ever recommend that. It's a bad strategy, to do. I mean, the only circumstances that anybody should do that would be if they were banking the money so they could write the check when their strategy didn't work and they were now faced with foreclosure unless they made a lump sum catch-up payment.
And so
that's the problem.
Yeah, I agree. So if I look at those 2 pointers, right, and we're at about a 3.5%, 3.75% default rate, right? Several million properties. We've got 4 million underwater. I've got 1 in every 109 loans based on fraud, right? Where somebody is clearly putting themselves into the deep water, which goes back to what your fiance also said, people putting themselves into a highly stressful situation, which just can't be positive anyway. Why wouldn't I expect the distressed market to grow? Okay, let's say on the low side, 1% to 2%?
Well, it's definitely growing. I mean, there's no question about it. I mean, whatever, who knows what the reason is, and the reason it's growing doesn't really even matter. But, at the end of the day, you're looking at foreclosure starts are up. And it's not as bad as in some areas as others, but we're seeing it. The state would expect it. There's affordability issues still in California. And then you see some of the other markets like New York, the judicial foreclosure states, New York, New Jersey, Florida, still they're lagging the market almost 5 years. So I was in New Jersey last weekend and I saw a number of properties that were distressed, short sales, auction.com signs and yards, those kind of things, in a very affluent neighborhood that I was visiting.
Yep.
So
I completely
it's interesting.
Agree. Let's do some gratuitous commercials at this point. Hey, if you're listening to this and you want to learn more about distressed properties, all you got to do is type in thelistingmonster.com. There's a webinar right there. Watch it. Click around on my website. It's been updated. That's at thelistingmonster.com. You can get these episodes more and sign up on iTunes and things like that. David has a company called Home Loan Advocates, and he also does a weekly update. I'm pushing your weekly update to homeowners. I think that's great video that should be shared on social media. Why don't you push that today?
Well, I mean, sure, you can go, I have 2 companies. We have Home Loan Advocates and we have Help You Sell Full Service Realty. You can find the videos on Google or on YouTube, I should call it, on YouTube. Just find the Help You Sell Full Service Realty page, or you can go to Facebook and look up Help You Sell Full Service Realty. And that's where you would find, my weekly market update videos. Of course, you can call me at 805-413-8000 or email me at david@homeloanadvocates.com. And the website is also, the videos should also be posted on our website, which is helpyousellfullservice.com.
And again, if you have a short sale anywhere in the United States, go to homeloanadvocates.com. All the information is there. It's really easy. Type in homeloanadvocates.com. We now turn our attention to answering some questions about monster marketing. Monster marketing is a process that I created now 8 years ago. The process is very simple. We do not door knock, we do not cold call, and we do not mail. What we do is we place a unbelievable...
Who wants to do that?
Who would want to do that? I mean, seriously. We put an incredibly unique marketing piece that generates a response. That response goes to a call center. It is a surgical, tactical way of getting in front of distressed homeowners. It has worked for literally close to 1,000 real estate agents across the country. Again, go to thelistingmonster.com and learn more about it. We're going to answer some of those questions. So any of you on the call, go ahead and type them in. I am happy to answer them. So is David. First question comes from Diana Ramirez. So maybe you covered this, but she said, how do you pay taggers? So let's discuss this. You physically have to go out and put up properties. It's the second step, really, of monster marketing. You pull data. We've talked about it repeatedly. David and I are basically pull whatever's available and that's new that comes up. David has a tagger. I do the tagging personally. So, David, how do you pay your taggers?
So I have experimented with a lot of ways of doing this, and none of them really work very effectively until the way that I'm going to tell you right now, and that is this, is that I wanted them to have skin in the game. So I found an investor apprentice, somebody who wants to be a real estate investor, doesn't really know how to start, really needs some mentorship, wants to learn the ropes. And so I put them on a pay plan where they tag on Mondays for us. We generate the tags and just give them to him for right now. And then he goes out and he fills out the labels and figures out his route. And we pay him $15 for every call-in that we get, not appointment, for every call-in. And then we pay, I'm going to get this right, and then we pay $25 for every kept appointment. And then we pay, so if we go to the door and we actually have a meeting where the person is there, it doesn't even have to be a good appointment. It could be 5 seconds or it could be 5 hours. We pay them $25 if the person answers the door, basically. And then we give him another $150 if we get them in contract, either by a listing agreement or a purchase agreement. And then we pay another bonus of, I'd say, $200 if we end up getting paid on the deal. And that seems to keep pretty good skin in the game for them, motivates them to want to do it, motivates them to do two things. Number one is that they're following up. And number two, it motivates them to want to learn how to go to the door and do it, which is what we're getting ready to start teaching our guy finally. Now that he's got tagging down, he's going to start learning how to go to the door now.
Yeah, I'm with you. I personally put up tags myself. Again, for those who don't understand the terminology, to physically go and put the marketing on the property is called tagging. That's the term we've come up with because they're printed on the marketing pieces are printed on Avery labels. I don't want to confuse anybody. You can place them in one of three locations, front door, garage door, or the mailbox not inside the mailbox. I don't know if I'm torn on locations lately, David. Does your person have any heads up on where they like to put them?
Well, the answer is you put them wherever they're most likely to be seen. Now, my theory is that I use the FedEx looking, similar label that has the FedEx colors, not exactly, but I think we're not allowed to call it that. We call it X. And X. And what we do is if FedEx were delivering a package, they deliver it to the front door. That's where we're having our guy do it. But if it looks like the front door is abandoned, then you might put it on the garage. You might put it on the garage door or a side door even where it looks like they actually enter the house from. And oftentimes the outside of the mailbox as well. And that would be true if it was hard to get to the front door.
There was another great question that came up before you got on about what happens if it's a realtor. Do you tag the house? Now, I still tag him because I find personal amusement in this, but the statistical probability somebody in real estate knowing who the monster system is and understand that they're being marketed to is really high. And it's my opinion that if you show up and they've got a car magnet and it says realtor, they're going to complain. I've never had one convert out. I've only had complaints from real estate agents. Have you had any positive experience when a real estate agent has failed to make their housing payments?
When a real estate has failed to make their housing payments?
Yes. Have you knowingly tagged a realtor's house?
Oh, no, not knowingly, but I would. I mean, I would. And by the way, my tagger is driving around in my little wrapped help you sell car.
Nice.
Okay. So, to give you an idea.
That's awesome. Michelle Larson, when going on an appointment and talking to the homeowner, what is the latest in the foreclosure process you can save a home before the auction date?
Day before. I mean, there's no rule of thumb. I mean, there's, it's harder. The less time we have, the harder it is. But we've been on appointments where the foreclosure was the next day and been able to get them stopped. I mean, I wouldn't. It's not a guarantee, and even if you had 60 days, it's not a guarantee. So we just do the best we can. You find a situation and you're jammed up like that, you call me at 805-413-8000, and I'll do my very best to, help you. I mean, if there's time and the homeowner will do what I tell them to do, we'll get it stopped. They're not always willing to do what I tell them to do. So, but I don't tag them. When I do my list, I'm tagging 7 to 37 days from foreclosure. That's my sweet spot. Okay, that's what, that's my sweet spot that I'm doing.
And by the other end of the spectrum, the Strong Team, which I hate that name, David. I can't believe that there was a meeting in the other room with Kevin and Diana and they came up with the Strong Team all by themselves. Hate the name. I was not involved in but again, I'm not allowed to name anything in the household, so I completely get that as well. All of our last deals have been NODs, actually, for anybody who's wondering. So it's hard to say where you are in the process when you're pulling data. Again, pull any data.
You should do NODs too. I'm just telling you, her question was related to how far before the foreclosure, and that's the answer.
Well, I'm with you. I'm just saying that our last deals as a sweet spot have been, I'm starting to lean towards newer is better for some reason around here. I'm starting to lean towards newer data.
The best two times to tag a property are still the date they get the NOD and the day they get the NOTS, because that's when their heart is racing the most.
Question is, what is an NOD? Good question. Somebody from, I'm going to take a wild guess, the East Coast. Notice of default. On the East Coast, people, you guys use Liz pendants and auction date. Same difference. So the minute the list pendants is filed, that's the best time. And the minute there's an auction date posted, that's the best day. And let's see. Anybody else? Dodgers win or lose to the Red Sox, David?
Oh, they lost.
Well, I know. Are they going to win the series?
I think they've been coming from behind all year, so I would not, for all the Boston fans that are gloating, I would not be in a big hurry to celebrate.
What is too much?
Every single playoff game, they got jammed up and had to come from behind. Or and all year for that matter.
What do you feel is too much to pay for a World Series ticket? Or have you already?
So I'm looking at them. I haven't got one. I'm looking at them. For me, I'm not right now. The nosebleeds